Good afternoon on my end.
Good morning on my end.
It's Garrett and Elise, childhood, high school friends. We're just here to talk about world topics and have a civilized conversation. And we did something different this time, a little bit off camera. I'm going to put you on blast a little bit, Elise. I'd appreciate it. But prior to us hitting that record button, she asked if she could start off in prayer. And I said yes. And it goes to just show how much somebody can be connected to somebody by such a little thing. So thank you for that. I'm sorry that I put you on blast, but it's
Oh,
a
you're good.
blessing to start a day like that and just to be able to be alive and to have, an opportunity at life, even if it's not the best at times. So thank you. And I'm gonna let you segue into the conversation of the day.
All right. So, first, we talked about just taking a moment to again ground ourselves in love and focusing on God in this conversation, focusing on our understanding of God, our understanding of love. For my view, loving is our mission on earth. Loving is the hardest challenge on earth because we're not supposed to just love the people that we like. We're supposed to love everyone, including our quote unquote enemies. So I just want to ground ourselves in that concept. And we both agree that we are to love the foreigner. We both are trying to love the foreigner. We both are trying to welcome the foreigner. And the third thing that I want to highlight again is the saying of uh, when we impose a boundary, the saying of the punishment has to fit the crime. We want to be mindful of how we're treating everyone. And when there does need to be a boundary imposed on someone, that the punishment or boundary should fit. What was that?
Our little
Oh,
coast,
Washington. Nice.
Washington coaster. Sorry.
Nice, nice.
Try to get that in there.
You're good. So the punishment or boundary should fit the crime or the harm caused. And we talked about the harms last time that you were finding. So I want to go back through those. And each of these conversations that we'll have, we'll go through that diagram that we talked about. The diagram talked about identifying the harm and then do we have some responsibility in that harm being caused, working to eliminate that, and then determining what the appropriate boundary or punishment should be that we think is just and that we support. So the harms that you brought up last time, you brought up this important one, which was stealing the opportunity of others. And then the other ones that I heard you talk about were short-term negative impact on schools and emergency services. And we're talking about ICE. So we're talking about the harms being caused by undocumented immigrants who are coming in. So the harms that we discussed were stealing the opportunity of others. A lot of people talk about that. Short-term negative impact on schools and emergency services, increased competition for low-skilled jobs, and border control credibility. Were there any other main ones that aren't on that list that you wanted to highlight?
We can say just the amount of mass fraudulent claims that is on all networks of the news right now. Just go to the sanctuary cities and you will find crimes because they're not people here on visas that that have committed a civil infraction by overstaying their visa. These are illegal aliens that have committed a criminal action because they've crossed the border illegally. So again, the mass fraud that is going on in Minnesota and what I think is happening in Seattle as well and all the other sanctuary cities. But again, some of it is still alleged because it's not proven yet, but a lot of this has been proven already. I'm with you. I love the foreigner because I love the foreigner when I'm the foreigner and I'm in their country respectfully, doing it legally and rightfully so. They're respecting their culture. I'm a firm believer in legally doing something right is right in my opinion and wrong is wrong. So if you do something illegally, it's wrong, plain and simple. And I'm always open ears to listen. That's what this podcast or this platform is for, is to hear each other out and to do so respectfully. I don't I that's kind of wanted a curveball because I do want to be a little bit more positive today and just talk about more of the positive stuff instead of the negative stuff because I went to bed in a horrible, horrible
Frame of
just
mind.
it was bad. It was real bad.
Mm,
I was extremely disappointed, sad, upset with family, and
yeah.
so I woke up this morning blessed like usual. And then I had the blessing, to get to the VA and to have a wonderful woman just filled with so much joy. And then you come on and then you're like, hey, let's pray beforehand, right? And then we started talking about, talk about the negatives and stuff. I don't want to talk about the negatives. If that's okay with you, I would love to talk about everything positive that's going on in your life, even with illegal immigration. I'm okay with that.
Well, since we are talking about ICE and we're talking about whether or not we support ICE's actions against these undocumented immigrants, since that's a focus, I want to go back to the harms like we talked about. Are you good with that? Is
Yeah.
that okay? So so the one that I heard you add was fraud of social services. Is that right?
It
That's the remaining one.
Whatever the fraud is, right? Fraud is bad in general, whether it is a US citizen, specifically if you're in the government, you should be, in my personal opinion, you should be hung. There should be open executions for specific things like trial for murder. When we see somebody kill somebody, like, come on now, we're seeing people assassinated live on TV. Fraud is bad in general, whether it's $1, $2, 2 million, it affects us all because it makes everything rise in price. It is a major issue going on, hence why we're $19 trillion in debt. But again, the bigger issue is that prior to you even becoming a fraudster, you're already an illegal criminal when you cross the border. That is where I have the issue with it.
Okay. So, fraud of social services, and you just to clarify, you feel good about that being that's the harms list that we have.
What's that?
That
I,
list that you
Yeah,
right?
I mean, giving out a legal driver's license to people that don't know how to speak English, let alone read or write the stuff that you're supposed to be reading on the freeways and the highways. Yes, I have a major issue with California issuing CDLs and Washington State issuing CDLs to drivers that don't know how to speak English, let alone fucking read and write it. I have a major issue.
Why is that?
Because if they're driving and
Yeah.
they don't know how to ride the rules of the road, that is you're telling me that's as dangerous as a fucking drunk driver.
Is there any evidence that they're worse drivers than anyone else?
I'm not saying that there is evidence, but I mean,
Well, then
I
there's no
could
problem. I mean, if we don't have any evidence of them, Garrett, they're really
yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess, yeah.
yeah, I mean, I would be
So
with
so
you.
you're okay
I
with
would be
giving
with you if it was like, "Hey, they can't read and write or whatever, and so there's this increase in accidents from this group." But we have no evidence of that.
one accident is too many accidents. Do you
That
not
that
believe that?
no, no, I think
Got it.
they should be held to the same standard as the rest of the population.
Two different levels of offenses. Yes, one is a civil offense, but the other is already a criminal offense because they've already entered the country illegally.
But just because they cross the border, again, I'm focusing on the harms. And my argument is that God focuses on the harms. God doesn't care if they cross an imaginary border that humans created. Does
And
God
that's
care?
but God's not here, and God doesn't make the laws that are written into place that we are following. So hear me out. Somebody wrote a book of laws of God in
Right.
this thing that's called a Bible. So we're supposed to only refer back to that was written thousands of years ago and
No,
not
again,
current laws.
I point to the universal moral laws that are consistent
Well, I,
across
I get it,
religions.
but unfortunately, we can't live off of that. You cannot. That's not sustainable. Do you have a Costco membership, Elise?
Yes.
That's fucking it's funny, right? That's funny. So do I. So do I. Damn. It's shameful though that you have one because unfortunately, I call you a hypocrite, right? I love you, right? But I call you a hypocrite because you have now a secondary ID to get into a fucking place to buy groceries.
Yeah.
To buy groceries.
Yeah. And
That's
I have
unmoral. That's
my
unmoral.
My survival doesn't depend on me getting into Costco.
But it's immoral.
Garrett, my survival doesn't
I got
depend on me getting into Costco.
so why have one though? Why pay for it?
'Cause I have resources at my disposal to spend on a Costco membership. It becomes a moral issue when someone's survival depends on them getting out of that violent situation.
But at whose costs of survival?
Great
We're
question.
getting taxed for all this stuff that nobody pays for.
So
So I'm sorry, but I don't want to work no more. So I have to pinch every fucking penny. But unfortunately,
Mhm.
taxes go up every year. My paycheck doesn't go up. The amount of the taxes go up every fucking year. We have to pay more into taxes because of people that are milking the system.
Let's talk about that because that's your
They should
fraud
be
point.
held accountable.
Of course, any harm that someone is causing, they should be held accountable for. But we have to understand what the harm is. And you pointed out a couple great ones that people bring up all the time. The first one is stealing the opportunity of others. And actually, I want to ask the question, which harms that we've listed does God care about? Because really, the only harms that
I
we
guess
should
God.
care about
Sorry.
the only harms that we should care about are the ones that God cares about. So I want to go back through that list from the lens of, do we think God cares about that?
But that's what you think he thinks, and what I think he thinks, again, potentially might be different.
This is what we talked about the podcast being. We even talked about the podcast title being God's perspective. We are trying to search for, what does God want us to do in the situation? This is what this podcast is about.
I
This is what this
I
podcast is
think
about. What do we think God's view is? And you say what you think, and I say what I think. That's what this is about. And we say why.
gotcha.
Okay. So, which ones would God care about? Stealing the opportunity of others. I
I think
agree.
so.
I agree. God would care about that. God would
I think
absolutely
that's
care
the
about that.
number one on the list. And
Number one.
I think it's a disservice to the ones that are doing it right. If the number that you say is correct, if it takes 10 years or whatever it is, the crazy number that you said, it's way too long. And it's a flawed system. So the system has to be retooled. It needs to be generated faster. Our technology has improved. I went to Afghanistan almost 15 fucking years ago, and we were scanning retinas and shit over there. And so it needs to be sped up faster. 100%, I agree. It needs to be executed at a higher speed to make it more effective, plain and simple, to get the people in. But I say that at the same time, that's not the only thing that needs to be like refurbished. I'm saying that for those that want to become citizens, you have to learn that language. They don't understand or comprehend the rules of the road, and that is very dangerous. Plain and
Well, there's
simple.
nothing to indicate that that's causing harm.
Unfortunately, I disagree with you.
Well, bring me the evidence and I'll look at it. Let's go back
I'm just saying it's harmful. Tell me that it's helpful to have somebody here that doesn't speak or understand English. How is it
because
helpful?
they're fulfilling their job duties and they're not
What
causing any greater
job?
harm
Hold
than you.
on, but send me the data that it's helpful.
Well, Garrett, you're saying that
No,
there's a
I
problem.
want the data. I want you to show me the data that it's helpful, that somebody comes here illegally and doesn't know how to speak English.
I'm not going to hold them to any higher standard than any other CDL
I'm not
driver.
asking you to hold them in any higher standard. I'm
Yeah,
just asking you to show me where it's beneficial for them to be here illegally and not speak English.
well,
That's all I'm
well,
asking. I'm asking you the same thing you asked me.
okay, can you hear my answer? What have I said? What have I said? What was my response? I'll say it again. They're fulfilling their job duties. They're working as truck drivers and they're not having any increased accidents on the road. They're not causing any increased harm. If there was, you would have a point. If there was, but there's no evidence of that.
So it's they've already done two things illegally, and you're okay with that. You just agreed on the first statement of God thinks that it's unfair for those illegally to jump the line of those doing it legally. But
Well,
they've
I
already
didn't
done
say
two things.
that. I didn't say that. I said that would concern him, and let's talk through that. Let's
Okay,
talk
so
through that.
sorry, you said that would concern him, right? So, but again, right, this truck driver, prior to him or her getting into an accident, they've already done two things illegally, and you're okay with that.
God
And
doesn't
I'm not
care about
okay with
people.
that.
God doesn't care about people crossing an imaginary border. God doesn't care about that. He doesn't care about that.
I
Prove otherwise. Prove otherwise. Tell me, back it up with something, but God cares about us loving each other, us
I
welcoming
can't
the
speak for God.
foreigner. He cares about if they're stealing something that's not theirs, and if it's not
They're stealing
justified, if it's
freedom. They're stealing somebody else's
freedom.
freedom.
Freedom isn't something that you steal. They have a
No?
right. They have a human right to freedom
So why not in their own country though?
because their own country is a violent country that has no justice, no legal system that works, no repercussions against rape, murder. They don't even report rape and murder. I think there was some statistic like
And I'm not
90.
laughing at the rape and murder. I'm laughing at the fact that you say this stuff, but it's a country
Yeah.
that you'll go visit on vacation.
Yeah,
And
I'm
that's
not going there for survival,
but you're going there, so you're supporting it.
but are
You're
coming
supporting
here.
narco terrorism. It's just as morally wrong for you to even go to that country.
Really?
Because you're supporting the illegal shit that's going on in that country by sending your US dollars there. But you don't feel that harm. You spend your time luxuriously in these resorts. Again, I find it hypocritical. Me, I'm like, yeah, shit, I'm gonna go.
So
You're just protected
so
because of your fucking
you're saying that
dollars.
no one should go to Mexico.
No, I'm not saying
They
I'm
should.
gonna go to Mexico next year, hopefully.
So what are you saying?
I'm calling you a
Your
hypocrite.
your own argument is saying that if you're going to Mexico, you're supporting the cartel. That doesn't add up. Just visiting
I get it.
Mexico.
I get it. It's crazy, but it's back to the whole thing, like trying to protest the Starbucks because of Israel and shit like this.
All of Mexico isn't the cartel.
It isn't. You're 100% right. You're 100% right.
Why are you
But you
laughing?
don't know where your money goes to, just like here.
Uh-huh.
You hope and you try to think like you boycotting tartars, whatever it is you want to boycott because of Israel. You're thinking you're doing a greater good. But again, at some point, your money is going to be infiltrated and funneled somewhere else. And it's just bad. It's all bad. And whatever
I'm
we think
confused what
right
your point is. What is your point to that?
about, sorry, what?
I,
Again, it's hypocritical for you to think it's okay for somebody just to morally cross the border illegally to better themselves. But
it's not
we
bettering
go down
themselves. It's
there.
not bettering themselves. It's out of survival,
That's bettering
leaving a
yourself.
violent situation. I mean,
That's
bettering
bettering
yourself
yourself.
bettering
That's bettering
yourself
yourself.
is
At least, come on. That's bettering
no.
yourself. However you want to fucking think about it or say it. Surviving is bettering yourself.
Bettering yourself is putting it lightly. Bettering yourself makes it sound like it's not an urgent decision that you're not almost forced to do it. So stealing the opportunity of others, we agreed God would care about that. Short-term negative impact on schools and emergency services.
I don't got to worry about that because he ain't footing the fucking bill. And if he was here, he would get it from the fucking Catholic Church. And the
Wow,
Catholic Church
that's
don't pay fucking
interesting.
taxes.
That's such an interesting way to.
God ain't got to worry about it because God ain't here to foot the bill. And I love God. And I'm footing the bill for God now, just like you are. That's
Wait, I'm
crazy,
so
right?
lost. I am so lost. God doesn't care about it because he's not footing the bill.
Yes, because he
That
doesn't
is
have to
such an
pay for it.
interesting way to frame God. Like you're like it's like he's some guy who's like taking your money and he doesn't or he
He's not. He don't care about money. Monetarily, he don't give a fuck about money. He never
Okay,
did
so
give
you're
a
saying
fuck about
God
money.
doesn't care about money, but we should.
No, I'm not saying. What do you mean? Oh, yeah, we should care about money. God doesn't, in my opinion, hear me out. Yeah, in my
Yeah.
opinion, yes. And you're 100%, call me a hypocrite. In my opinion,
I'm
yes.
not calling you anything. I'm never gonna call you a name. Go ahead.
Oh, a hypocrite's the least of a name, right, to be called. That's just, it's really,
I'm just saying I'm not calling you anything. I'm listening.
in my opinion, God never cared about money. Why he didn't preach in a fucking church. Why he preached outside.
So why should we? So why should we?
So why shouldn't
Why
we
should we
preach?
care about money?
Unfortunately, that's how we survive. That's survival is money. And it's
But
very
we have
unfortunate.
everything we need, Garrett.
You think we have everything you need until you don't have it because
That's
they take
fear
it from
creeping
us
in.
or
That's fear. That's fear.
that's
That's the opposite of trusting God. We are in a current situation where we have everything that we need.
I mean, yes, you're 100% right. I have a roof over my head.
Mhm.
I have some
You're
income
blessed. You
coming in
say it every
monthly.
day. You are blessed. You have everything you need. You're blessed every day. You trust God. Why are you focused on a fear of losing money?
I don't have a fear of losing money. I have a fear of my money running out and not being enough because what I have seen in my 40 years of living,
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you.
I've seen my parents have a mortgage of $700 to now a 200 or $2,000 mortgage, right?
Mhm. And what's God's
That
message to us about money?
I mean, who are you asking, me, or are you asking, like, the Catholic Church that hands a basket out every Sunday, or
I'm
a
asking
Christian
you
church?
because this is a discussion about your view and my view.
Again, I don't think he ever cared about money, but we live in a different time where we have to care about money. And it's unfortunate that
Hmm,
life is
that's
like that
interesting.
now.
Why do you think
And
it's
hear me out,
different
where you live,
now than
well,
back in the day?
hear me out, where you live,
Yeah.
I can't move back to where you live. To live in a nice neighborhood, a nice house that your husband and you worked so goddamn hard for,
Do you
right?
know where I live?
Well, I mean, you gave me your address, so, I mean, I haven't Googled it or anything, but I
Uh,
know that you guys have worked your guys' ass off, and I'm proud of you guys.
we live in very, very it's nothing fancy neighborhood, I'll just say that.
Yeah, I mean, but it's a blessing.
Yeah.
And but what I bring in, we couldn't live up there. I would have to work another full-time job. I'd have to, and that's crazy. Again, I honestly believe that God didn't care about money because it wasn't about money back then. But it was about money back then for Judas. Hence why he betrayed Jesus and he took the silver and gold.
Yeah,
So, but
I'm
now,
curious, why do you think it wasn't about money back then?
well, no, you asked about it wasn't, you asked about Jesus. I didn't say, I still think it was about money. Obviously, it's always been about money. Whoever's had
Totally.
the money, it's
Always been about
been,
money.
it's always been about money. You
Yeah.
asked about Jesus, right? And
Mhm,
again, I am a
mhm.
firm believer that Jesus did not care about money. The biggest
Well, it's
disdain,
not just that he didn't care about money, it was like money was the root of evil.
and I agree.
So,
Unfortunately, you need money to survive nowadays, and that's why I don't want to live up there because I
nowadays,
don't.
I mean, you've always needed money to
I get
survive.
it. Hold on, but I could live up there, but I don't want to because I'm not greedy.
You said that we do need to care about money, even though God doesn't care about money. Is that what I heard you say?
100%. It's unfortunate, but you have to, and to survive in America, yes, because you need a certain amount of money
Mhm.
to pay the bills,
Yeah, I mean,
all
it
that
goes
stuff.
back to the diagrams that we talked about with love, loving ourselves. Loving ourselves means meeting our own needs. Doesn't mean having a whole lot of things. It doesn't mean having an expensive house. Doesn't mean having an expensive car. It means meeting our own healthy needs. Once we have that, then we
No,
are commanded to love others. We're
but it's,
commanded to love others. We're
I love
commanded.
others all the time.
But I mean, Jesus, his teaching was to, the rich man. He told the rich man to give away all his possessions and to follow him.
I wish that was the case, right?
That's an
I've yet to have
extreme
a rich.
example. That's an extreme example.
Oh, exactly. Like me and my wife bought our house.
Mhm.
That's my right. That was my freedom. That was my hard earned blood, tears, and hard earned work. Missed years of my marriage and my children's, upbringing. This is mine. I'm sorry, but again, I did it right. And you know,
I'm not going to argue with you that I am completely with you that we need to be able to meet our own needs. I'm with you.
I'm
We
with
need
you
to
as
be able to
well.
meet, we need to be able to meet our own needs, but that's where the thinking about money ends.
So if that was where you thought money ends, right? You wouldn't take the trip to Mexico. You would donate it, right? That's what I'm saying.
No,
But it's
no,
a
I mean,
fine line, right?
taking time for yourself, having a vacation,
Well, why not just
that's
take your
meeting a
time
need.
yourself in the backyard and then give that money to somebody else?
Everything's within reason. Expecting someone to take a vacation in their backyard, I'm gonna say people would say that's not a vacation. But, it's an extreme to say that and then say that we need to focus on money. That's an interesting statement. Like, then that statement becomes that you're not trusting God at all. You're not trusting God at
Well,
all.
no, you have to have a focus on money. You have to have a
You
certain amount
have
of
a
focus
focus
on
on
money to
money.
survive.
Like we talked about, you have a focus on money until your own needs are met.
But what is that? What is, and see, that's different to everybody and to everybody.
That's the loving yourself diagram that we talked about
I
to
get
start
it.
off. We could go back through that, but that is a diagram of meeting our own needs in a healthy way. If you have a different view, if you think that something else should be added to that diagram, that diagram wasn't all inclusive of the needs that we, meet in a healthy way. If you think something else should be added, then you can say that. And you can tell me
No,
why.
I'm pretty sure I agreed on all of them. I just
You
don't
did.
understand why those
You did.
healthy habits and stuff, they can't have that in their own country, and why is it that they have to come here legally?
Well, in their home country, their needs aren't being met. They don't
You say that, but again, we look in the streets of Venezuela. Nobody cared about Venezuela until we took the dictator. So their needs were being met, were they not? So why is it that we have to meet the needs
I
of
thought you
those?
were saying that we have a high influx of Venezuelans coming in illegally,
We
so their
do.
needs weren't being met.
But that's what I'm saying. But so the ones that are staying, obviously their needs are being met and they're okay with staying there. So why are we allowing the ones to come illegally? Let their needs be met in their country. Again,
Is that what God's message is to us?
I don't know what God's message is. He is
God's
yes,
message
love
is
thy
to
neighbor, right?
welcome the foreigner.
Yeah, love thy neighbor. I get it,
God's
right?
message is to welcome the foreigner. You saying go have their needs met there, that's like, "Hey, I'm not welcoming you. You can
I'm
get out of our
welcoming you.
country and stay in
Please
your country."
come.
That's what it sounds like.
Please come, but please come legally, the right way. God's way, what we're agreeing on is that bring them all in, no matter the rules, regulations, anything. I agree with you. I agree with you. But we don't live in that world anymore.
I wouldn't I think God's saying welcome them in a reasonable way, which we are not doing as a country. So first, since we're all over, I just wanted to get through like, okay, which ones would God care about? Stealing the opportunity of others. Yes, he would care about that. Short-term negative impact on schools and emergency services? No, wouldn't care about that. It's not long-term, it's short-term. It doesn't matter from my perspective. Increased competition for
I think
low-skilled
I think
jobs.
differently. I think
Okay, let's
it's
talk
an
about it.
effect. I
Let's talk
think it's
about it.
effect long term because again, if you have starts
Yeah.
here, right here, and here.
Mhm.
A little basic drawing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is just, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is a line straight up. This is the negative outcome this year, right? This is the
Mhm.
next year, up, 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 up. It just continues to be negative. I don't know how it's a positive if you because a negative does not turn into a positive without a positive. So if you
Mhm. Yeah.
continuously add a negative to a negative to a negative, it still becomes
Mhm.
more negative.
The data shows so the reason why it's short term is because they get here, they might need initial services where they haven't contributed enough into national revenue. But long term, they actually have, if not, you know, a neutral effect, they have a net positive effect.
Yeah, and again, what
Do we
I've
understand why? Do you
no,
understand why?
because what I brought and what I showed you last
Mhm.
time, I saw differently.
I don't ever remember you having a source for that that said that there
Yeah,
was a
I had brought up all sorts of
negative
shit. So
long-term effects, because 'Cause I'd wanna see that, I haven't found that.
I'll look it back up.
How about let's
I
talk
said I'll
about
look it
that
back
next
up.
time. Let's talk about that next time. So, yeah, if it's a long-term negative effect, that would be a problem, but
So
from what
let me
I've
ask
seen
you
is
this:
yeah,
how does a negative effect become positive?
yeah,
If it
because
continuously becomes negative,
yeah,
right? How do you make it then become positive?
right, because they're here, they come here, they're not making money
Mhm.
initially, and they might take that service, so that's a initial strain on that service, but as they're here, they are working and they're contributing through taxes from their
I guess we're
job.
gonna have to just wait out and find out. We just wait for this whole Minnesota debacle to find out that it's all crock of shit. All these services are a crock of shit. I know
Well,
a
Minnesota,
personal
whether or
relative that
not
is
there was a
on.
debacle in Minnesota doesn't mean that there's a net negative across the nation. So we would have to have
I mean,
evidence of that.
we're slowly being shown the net negative of it. Just in one state. I mean, California and Washington are next. I ultimately believe it's negative because you cannot.
You can believe it as much as you want, but if you want me to look at it, you need to give me actual data or evidence from someone.
I will. I will.
Yeah,
I'll pull it up.
great.
But I thought we were already over this because this is on to the
Yeah, no,
next.
I don't remember you citing a source of long-term negative impact. You talked about short-term negative impact.
No, I showed them to you. So
I apologize then, but let's
oh,
talk about it because I don't remember any source of long-term negative impacts of illegal immigrants. Increased competition for low-skilled jobs. Does God care about that? God doesn't care about competition. Border control credibility.
I mean, you're gonna say no. I mean,
Does God care about how we look from a border control? I mean, when there might be something is when if there's like a influx of violent criminals that come in. And then you'd be like, okay, well, maybe we could point to that, but there isn't. So there's nothing there.
Does it become when does a border become a crisis, and when does the border have to be secured and people have to be vetted? Like,
Well, people are already being vetted. We're
may I
trying
ask, is it another 9/11?
to have some change to the current situation. Some harm would have to be shown.
Well, I'm asking, does another 9/11 have to happen or what?
They didn't
Like,
come over here
that's
as
where I
illegal
like,
immigrants.
why do we have to
They didn't come over here as illegal immigrants, so why are we bringing that in?
if you don't think there are people over here illegally, I mean, I
Uh,
don't know.
are you saying that they're illegal immigrants, that they came over here illegally and that's why they were part of a
I'm
bombing 9?
I'm just asking you. Does another terrorist attack like 9/11 have to happen for you to
That had nothing to do with illegal immigration.
terrorism? All right. You don't think illegal immigration has to do with anything with terrorism either?
Show me any kind of indication that there are more terrorists that are illegal immigrants. Show me that.
Any illegal, in my opinion, fucking mark them as terrorists too. But I guess I'll have to
You
find
have to
that too,
show that
right?
there's a correlation between terrorism and illegal immigrants. You'd have to show that.
Again, I'm asking you what has to happen and take fuck 9/11 because I guess 9/11 wasn't enough. What is it going to take for the borders to be secure? Or do you not want the borders? You just want free borders open?
Do you think how we've had it? We've vetted
I'm just
people.
asking you. Can you
Yeah.
answer the question? Please don't
Well,
ask.
the question that you asked is inaccurate.
No, I'm asking you, do you want open borders?
No.
No. How do you want them secured?
I think they should be vetted just like any security checkpoint.
And then those that are not vetted, meaning those that are coming in illegally,
Mhm.
what
What about
happens? We
then
just
if they
let them
commit a
in.
crime? I mean, if they commit a
They've
crime,
committed a
then
crime. You I'm not going to call you a hypocrite, but you're
crossing a
contradicting
border
yourself.
is a
They
crime.
committed a crime. It's a criminal offense.
To me, it's not a crime. Just
Well,
like to God. God doesn't have a law about crossing an imaginary border. There's no harm in
I would
crossing a
love for
border.
you to get on. I would love for you to get on here and tear your passport up and say that. I would
Expand on that to me. Expand on that.
because it just it's contradicting yourself that you're going to have a secondary ID to leave the country, but you don't want the illegals to even have an ID to get into the country.
Oh, I
It's
want them to have
it's
it.
very
A
contradictory.
lot of times we aren't
Oh,
giving them the avenue to do that.
it's mind blowing
I mean,
every
no,
time.
Garrett, I want them to be able to do that,
Oh,
but we don't allow it. We don't
no,
allow
we
it.
do allow it, right?
No, we don't. We can talk about that. We're out of time now. That's a good ending point. I love it.
Let's leave it.
Great talk. Love you, Garrett.
Well, yeah.
See you
Y'all
next
have a
week.
blessed day.
You too.